when you really think about minimizing your footprint, like you gotta ask yourself, what are the things that truly bring happiness in your life and meaning in your life?
I live quite alone before that, and now I have so many like meaningful connections.
When we take care of each other and our community, we have a much better chance of survival through the crisis.
We both were climate activists actually beforehand, before starting this, against the injustices and fighting for the world we want to live in. But now we have moved out of this. We don't want to fight anymore, so we want to actually create and do create something with love more. We don't want to have this like fighting mode in us. So yeah, we have found that we want to actually grow and create.
Here we are doing regenerative agriculture, just starting our own farm.
So I am Karola. I work for Estonian Green Movement, which is environmental protection NGO, and I work as a project manager of climate anxiety.
We have like 11.5 hectares here that we are partly renting. The landowner is like, protect the nature, so you're welcome here to almost do everything for free.
We moved into tiny house, like 24 square meters, and the land. We are doing really like simple things. We use everything that we have here when we build something.
And I'm Henri. I used to work with Fridays for Future Estonia for like 5 years. Now I suppose I'm a retired climate activist and working full time on establishing our small farm. So the best thing about living here on this 24 square meter micro house or tiny house on wheels, I would say it's the possibility to live like constantly in the middle of the nature. It's like we wake up to birds singing, we go to sleep to birds singing. It's like the sunshine that we can see first thing in the morning. It's just so damn beautiful living here.
Yeah, for me as well. I spend, it doesn't matter what season it is, I spend most of like a lot of time outside, because it just I really need like my movement and my space. So I really love that. I really kind of need to go outside even when it's minus 20 degrees, or like I really feel that I'm like connected to the environment.
With this house, we have all of our basic needs covered, and as long as we can find ways to get along, then it's quite a bliss to live here. We don't need much stuff. We have only like one table to use for like sitting down and doing computer work, which we bought too. But organizing it cleverly, we can handle it. So we are going to work partly like to Tartu, which is about 20 kilometers away from here. We also like when we go to shop, that's the place we always go. It's a big city next here. So how do we do it?
I mean, I usually go like 2 times a week to Tartu to office. So I bike like 2 kilometers to the bus station, and then I just leave my bike to the bushes and I hop on a bus and come back and do that. But when we go like together, we use a car and then we plan together, so we can have like our plans aligned.
For us, it's a lot about bringing back the elements of being in touch with nature around us, and being in touch with other people in our community, and
being in touch with ourselves.
and with
Very
ourselves,
important
yeah,
part.
and yeah, stepping one step at a time away from classical
Consumerism,
materialism society, and instead of like developing our own path and decolonizing our mind at the same time.
Yeah, for me, that I really want to bring out is the value of strong relationships, like strong, deep connections, and having community. Since I lived in Estonian eco community in Mõisamaa, I really started to like realize like how important it is to have like those kind of community relationships. And when we look into the future, we really don't know what's gonna happen. Whatever way things go, it doesn't actually really matter. Even when everything would be like perfect in our climate wise and everything, still like the kind of living in our communities would be like the one way to go.
I guess the biggest change has come when we have like reevaluated what do we actually want in life, because like it's nice to be environmentally protected but still do like all the consumerism lifestyle. Like once we like figure out for ourselves what kind of like that we want to live minimalistic, it after that I suppose things started to align, and it was much easier.
Yeah, what we want to have here is also having this kind of village kind of community. So having different people we can kind of live together and work together and do things together with people that you share your core values and you can actually talk about meaningful things. People who have like those strong connections, stronger relationships have live 8 years longer than when you wouldn't have. So I earned in the last 2 years. I'm sure that I earned 8 years for my life actually.
I suppose in some sense there's always the question of how much like private personal space you could have, like when you're constantly with two of you in the same room. But we have been lucky in the sense with that we have other places to use too, like going for a walk outside. So we really try to manage our time in a way that we both have some of our private
Yeah,
time.
actually, we haven't had like difficulties on like we're living in this tiny place as it is now, because our like the biggest difficulty was the biggest mistake to have this specific tiny house, which was just built very badly. It's not built for year-round living. It's just kind of like fancy tent basically. And I guess we haven't had any other difficulties because this is just there's like 100 problems that that we have to face like or year round, mostly in the winter time.
If you are to buy a tiny house, really do your research. Like we didn't do it enough, and now like having almost like 0 degrees under your feet in the winter is not something we would recommend. Finding how to get some clean water or like how to place the electrical systems, these have been much more difficult than living together. Don't expect it to be easy. Like
Yeah, maybe plan that there's gonna be so many different like obstacles or like things that go wrong. But yeah, just to value and appreciate like the core parts of like life. Yeah, and when we go into the deeper points that I see over my life in myself, that there's actually such a huge disconnection from like people, disconnection from themselves and disconnection from therefore from other living beings on earth and environment of itself. So like there's this kind of like huge crisis of like yeah disconnection and not having like meaning, being the lost of meaning. So that's what's also like huge part of what how we live or like why we do things we do to actually have like connection to yeah to ourselves, to our friends, to community and environment around us, and like actually think through why we do things. Does the tradition culture has any point, or like it's just completely it started from somewhere but it doesn't have any meaning. So like the meaning and connection are huge for like drivers for us.
the world can only change as much as we ourselves can change.
Mm-hmm.